is not selfish. It's actually the other way around. The bigger his business gets, the more people he can help build wealth, the more people he can hire to help in the process and give a job to, right? Not hiring is selfish. Does everyone see that? All right, you guys have been awful quiet today. Tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know. Today I feel a little stressed. I don't know. I don't think it's my own personal stress, but I feel really bad for Charleston. And he and I script practice every day. And just yesterday he was talking about his mom and her not doing well. And then last night my partner came home from the office and he completely unraveled because he's not handling this whole situation well. And I'm really good at carrying other people's burdens. So I guess I'm struggling for others today.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to focus on my kids because my ex-husband doesn't take things as seriously. And I have one daughter who has a history of immunity and respiratory issues, and she's allergic to horses, and he's bringing them to the farm. And they don't own the animals, they're clients, and I cannot get him to understand that going to the farm is not an essential business, and Annika shouldn't be around horses right now, if usually ever anyway. And so I'm trying to not think about that, but I feel kind of powerless right now, and there's nothing I can do about that. I can manage keeping myself home and keeping them here when they're here and helping them understand things, but I don't, that's a different kind of no control over this.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the same thing, Heather Mahler.
I guess
my son has asthma. He's in Statesboro. His girlfriend babysits and he sees her and, he takes precautions, but I dreamt all night long. I dreamt about coronavirus and washing hands and washing doorknobs and and taking precautions. And our third daughter, who's in PA school, she was with us, had to go back to Columbia. She lives with her boyfriend, and he is a manager at a Lowe's grocery store. And I think about that's always right there in the back of my head. I'm okay. I just want to, the fear of my kids.
Well, and for me, it's that they're 10 and 12, and my 10-year-old just isn't careful about stuff, and she's big, and she's always wiping and always doing, and she's always all over. And so they had told me they weren't going to go to the barn, they weren't going to leave the house. And then last night she FaceTimed me, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, oh, we're at the barn and I'm waiting in the car. And so not only are they going, but he's having them lie to me about it. And so it makes me go to that place of what else is happening. And so I'm trying to focus on business things and do tasks and do all of that. And I just feel like I have no recourse. And then I talked to some friends about it, and they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have them come back to your house now because they've been out and you haven't. And I'm like, I can't not have them here, because when they're here, at least I can make sure they're not continuing to go out.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
So that's not all our normal real estate talk, but that is what's on my mind.
Right. It's and that's very real. And sometimes I have a fault of kind of, having a situation and then kind of just brushing it off and focusing on work or whatever. And
that's human nature, right? If we focus on one thing, then we're not drowning in the sorrows of something else. And I think both of you hit the nail on the head. It's the lack of control. My partner most composed man I've ever seen in my life. And last night he was like almost in tears over it. And I just was like, you know, who am I to tell him that you're looking at it from the wrong perspective? Although I did kind of allude to it, but really, who am I to tell him how he should feel? So, you know, I'm a fixer by nature. So if I can't fix things for my family, it's very hard on me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually I don't have a problem with lack of control because I'm a pretty things happen, roll with it, go with it person. And so usually I don't find that I need control. And in this situation, it's scary for me because this is like, I know how medically inclined she is to have events anyway. She uses a nebulizer anyway, a couple times a month. Like it's, so like managing that normalcy of what's not normal for a lot of people's health point, like if she goes into a crisis point, we go to ER a couple times a year for breathing issues.
Gosh.
And that's not where I want to take her right now.
Right.
Um,
I have an asthmatic son too. I totally understand.
I'm going to leave the room open. I'm going to hop over to the leadership call real fast, but I don't want to cut this off necessarily. So if this is helpful for anyone, I'll leave the room open without an issue. Um, it's they say God family business for a reason, guys. It's not all about slinging homes 24/7, right? The purpose is to fund use business as a way to fund your life so that in moments of stress and turmoil and chaos, you can be exactly where you need to be. All right, I'll mute myself. Feel free to use the room as long as you want, okay?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for everyone being so vulnerable and sharing. I think that's probably why we were all so quiet this morning, is just like maybe the closer these things hit to home, the more realistic it becomes. And it's not just something we're seeing on television or hearing about. You know, my mom was supposed to come down for Easter, and she, you know, my whole family's in New York, and it's been really hard. I'm totally fine living away from my family, but it's been really hard thinking like that she's so far away, and maybe for the first time in the 4 years I live away from them, I can't get to her or she can't get to us. We've talked about her like jumping in the car and driving down and not taking a plane, and she's like, well, I'm hearing that rest stops are closed and I'm scared and I don't want to drive down there. And you know, to hear, and she's pushing 70, she's vulnerable, and you know, it sucks. It sucks. It does.
I know, Heather. I think everybody is feeling sort of worse this week just because, like, I have two little kids that have been waiting for their Easter baskets and the egg hunts, and their friends always come over and we do fun stuff. And it's just so hard to explain it to them. My son is only 5, you know, and then he's heard about Corona, but he doesn't understand like how serious it is and what it means. And he's just, what do you mean? We're not going to have an Easter party? Like, we're not going anywhere? And I'm like, no, honey, we can't. So it's just really disheartening. Like you just get stuck because it's like a dead end. Like you don't know when it's going to end. You don't know what to promise to the kids. You know, like, well, like, what do we say? You know, it's just really sad.
Can you do an Easter egg hunt in the house for him?
And you know, I'm trying to get creative. I'm trying to explore a few options. We thankfully have a really nice little field area right behind the pool, across from my house. It's kind of behind the tennis courts. So if there is nobody there, we might just go maybe really early in the morning and just kind of throw the eggs around and have them like round around and find them, and you find their golden egg that they always look for, you know, just kind of try to do it as we normally do it.
Yeah. Like I grew up in New York City, and so we only ever had an apartment, so we only ever could look for our eggs in our apartment anyway.
Yep. I always grew up always looking for our eggs in the home.
So, you know, for me, I'm like, but I'm with you. Like my kids, they range from 25 to, so they're 25, 22, 20, 17, 14, and 13. One girl out of all of them, and she lives with her husband and their baby. And honestly, like I said to my partner last week, like we have to make ways for these children, especially the younger three, to enjoy this time so that they can look back and say, all right, it really sucked. And my son's not going to graduate this year. He's supposed to graduate. His graduation is canceled. You know, these things really suck, but my parents made a way for us to make it memorable. So that's been my goal. Is I can't make every day memorable for them. That's just unrealistic, and it wouldn't work that way if our lives were normal. But the other day we had s'mores in the yard, and then I bought a couple of puzzles, and so we've been, you know, stopping in the dining room, and we're all, you know, putting this 1,000-piece puzzle together, or just sitting on the deck and playing cards with them, or, you know, just little ways that I have to realize that, okay, my kids are not in school right now, and they are home, and I still have to work, but I have to time block this time to give to them, because they really are, you know, kind of struggling. If we're struggling, I'm really not struggling. I'm struggling because everyone else is struggling, but I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so tired of being home. I actually love to work from home. It's like my thing, but I feel like I have to support everyone who is struggling. My mom is 900 miles away struggling. This guy's struggling. My son is struggling with not graduation.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm
You're
struggling.
carrying all that weight.
Right.
Yes.
Kind of support. Exactly. So that's probably where my struggle comes in. And then I have to say to myself, well, you have to do things to help yourself go through this. So journaling is really important. Meditating is really important. You know, figuring out ways to make myself feel better through this.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. It's tough because if like my huge, like I even told Bill during our one-on-one session, like I completely lost control of my calendar. Like I can't get anything done.
Right.
I keep reading, you know, bits and pieces of information here and there. I try making calls. I can never sit down for a full hour to do it. And then you just end up feeling so disappointed in yourself at the end of the day, because I'm typically a lot more organized,
Right.
you know, but I just feel so torn. And this is just like your mental health is just really suffering. I think everybody can admit that. It's just that you, like, I already have a problem with that. I started like being really hard on myself and like, oh my God, like other people do it, why can't you do it? And I'm like, oh my God, just stop. Like I gotta stop myself because my kids are so little. Like my daughter is 7, my son is 5. Like they need so much attention.
Yeah.
Natasha,
Yes.
this is our new norm, and this is difficult. I mean, my kids are 15 and 12, and I've got twins. Although they homeschooled, it doesn't matter. Like, to be focused on one thing a day when they know that they could finish everything in one day and they're literally dying, we have to get creative. We're all in this together, so do not be hard on yourself. To have small kids where they're having to readjust and learn, it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, each year of school, they have to readjust to that after getting off of summer. So just be kind to yourself. It's difficult. This is difficult, and it's a learning curve for all of us. So celebrate those times saying, praise be, good Lord, I got through 30 minutes. That's something, and celebrate those small things that you were able to accomplish instead of looking at, I didn't do this huge chunk. Most likely, a lot of us aren't getting those huge chunks done, but then it's okay and to say, I did this, and guess what? I'm going to do 10 more minutes tomorrow. Celebrate those small things and just keep moving forward and just be forgiving to yourself, because you've got little ones who are adjusting. You've got your household who's adjusting, and things are looking different this Easter and this holiday. Just
No, you're right. I actually, you know, I have 2 accountability partners. I have one from our group, Alexandria, and then I have another girl from Canada who I picked up through Ramp Up. And so she said something to me the other day that really kind of made me think a little differently for a moment, just because her mom got really sick last week, and they all freaked out. Like, she's got a sister, and they all rushed to her apartment, got her out, took her to the hospital. Like,
Right.
it was like she even texted me. She's like, oh my God, I don't know if I can be on the call with you because of my mom. And oh my God, it just made me feel like, you know what, my problems are crap compared to what she's going through right now. You know, but then it was only for a couple of days that I felt that way. Then I get back into my routine, and then I started getting frustrated again. So I guess this is my biggest struggle. Like, I need to just calm down, get my mind in a different kind of rechannel it a little bit, and just like you said, don't be so hard on yourself, because it's not making me productive either, because
Right.
you just, like you think you're failing and there is no way back out of it, and it's just, oh my God, like I can really be hard on myself.
Right.
Well, and I wonder, have you guys seen that meme where it's like, if you haven't taken the time to learn a new skill while we're out, you never had a time issue, you had like a self-discipline issue, but then that last line is blocked off, and it's like, don't be so hard on yourself. Collectively, we're struggling and going through something that's not normal for us.
No, I haven't seen it. I've seen something similar though.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm going to try to find it, because it actually speaks so much to like what we're talking about right now. And I think really, like, I think all of us need to just give ourselves and other people just a little ounce more of grace than we normally would, to say, you know what, we're not going to be able to do it all. Honestly, I'm so thankful that I don't have little kids at home, because I know my teenagers are demanding, and I couldn't even imagine having little ones, because I could never get anything done at home when my kids were little. So
Right, because Heather, you know how they are. You remember that. Like at school, they can go for 6 hours, without eating, pooping, drinking food every 30 minutes, and they're fine. When they are home, it's like they're dying of hunger. Like they need everything. Right. I'm like, oh my God, like what do you do at school?
I think she was right, though. You have to celebrate, instead of looking at the negative, like I didn't get 60 minutes done, celebrate that you got 30 minutes done. And just realize that for the next couple of weeks, this is going to be really different for you and your household and how you normally conduct business. And I think if you accept it, I think that a lot of times when we fight something is where we get this anxiety and this anger and this depression. But if we kind of just accept that this is the way it's going to be for the next couple of weeks, I think that the outlook will be different.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah, I'm slowly starting to think in that direction lately. So hopefully in a month I'll be.
Hey, so I like there's some stuff going around on Facebook. A lot of teachers are posting, and they're saying stuff about like, instead of worrying about what our kids are missing or whatever by not being in school, like what are they getting out of this? Like what are they learning?
Mm-hmm.
And they're learning how to deal with, boredom, and they're learning how, to deal with family and interpersonally. And so they're getting more out of it than we think they are.
Exactly.
And then, okay, so also like I read the book, Girl, Wash Your Face. I don't know how many of you have read that. Anyway, it's kind of fluffy in some places, but the one thing that I just love that she was like, hey, are your kids alive today? Yes? Okay, you're doing a good job. Like, you have to have that standard for yourself rather than you've got to meet some other kind of, standard. And like teachers are struggling with their kids too. It's harder to teach your own kids than a group full of kids. And it's just different. So like, you don't need to be hard on yourself. You got it. You got this. Your kids are fed. Even if it's late.
You can bet on that.
Well, time today.
I have a friend who's a teacher, and she said that she's like having this struggle because she's supposed to be doing all these things for her school kids and doing that, and then also taking care of homeschooling her kids, which go to a different school than the one she teaches at. Mm-hmm. So she has to like look at all their emails and know their processes and do their things. And she's like, give teachers a little grace, because you got to remember a lot of teachers are parents too, and they're going through the same thing you are.
Right. I was a teacher last year. I was a music teacher, and my mom actually went into the hospital in February, hence my career change. But, I had to, because I'm a music teacher, substitutes don't usually have the same kind of background or knowledge to be able to, just pick up a song and sing it for the kids. And it's hard to explain your lessons. So I had to we already had online school stuff going on. For them to practice for like snow days and stuff. So I had to do my lesson plans in between being in the hospital with my mom and trying to like get that out. Like you never know what's going on in their lives. And it is really hard to teach that way. And I had to teach a lesson that then the sub could either watch and do it, or she could show to the kids. And I had to, it's hard. Lesson planning is tough. And I didn't have to do it every day because, music repeats when it goes through the classroom. But hey, Heather Mueller, I wanted to circle back around to like your situation with your kids and your ex-husband. So is it your ex-husband or is it like your future ex-husband? Like, are you already through your divorce?
We're divorced. And our divorce, we were divorcing for 2.5 years. It finalized December 30th.
Oh, wow.
And so I am so financially tapped. Like I don't have resources to be able to
do something about it.
Right.
So could you talk to your,
sorry. I did email my lawyer and say, I don't know if you can help me with this or not. You know very well that I'm in a place where I can't pay you. But if you can tell me if there's some simple solution or give me some guideline or give me some nugget of something that I can do, I would be so grateful.
I was wondering if you could call your pediatrician and even just get a letter from her or him about, whether or not she should be going to those places.
Did that proactively before she went to them from her allergist, from her specialist.
Okay.
And so that my ex-husband didn't feel attacked, I asked them to send it to both of us as if we were both receiving it. Because when he feels attacked, it's just not good.
Yeah.
Or singled out, or like messages from me. So, and then that gave me a conversation point because, up until I dropped him off last Friday, he was still telling the kids they were going to go on spring break down to Jekyll Island and go to Florida. I mean, and so he finally agreed to not do that, but he always has seemed to feel like things don't apply to him. And I don't know how to deal with that right now.
Yeah. My heart goes out to you. I've been through it too. I still go through it with my ex-husband too. We've been divorced, I don't know, 12 years, 13 years, somewhere around there. Shauna's going through it right now. She's going through a divorce. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that.
Oh, I don't mind you saying it. I'm in the midst of it right now. I'm in the throes.
So like, I know it's like, it's so hard and you feel kind of desperate and you don't know what to do. And I don't have answers for you, but I'm with you.
Don't understand, like I really don't understand. He's over 50. Yeah. He has asthma. He has allergies. Like, how is he, if not for our kids, how is he not understanding that he should even be taking care of himself?
Because he wants more to be exciting for the kids and to be the cool and fun parent. He's more worried about his image.
And that has been a lifelong thing. Lifelong. If he doesn't create boundaries because he's afraid that if he says no, they'll stop loving him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I dealt with that with my ex-husband, and I deal with that with my new partner now too. In a whole different aspect, his children lost their mother, and so he has tremendous guilt having to say no. And I'm like, you're doing a disservice, and so we work on that together. But yeah, I've been there too, like past my marriage and now my new relationship. I get it. Good God, do I get it.
And I'm like, if you set boundaries and expectations, they thrive on that.
Right. Mm-hmm. I actually appreciate you more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know you can't make anybody do anything, but for me, like, it's even like the legal aspect of it. Like, you're legally not supposed to be leaving the house for this.
Right.
Yeah.
And the barn is legally not supposed to be operating as something for clients. And so, I had some hardcore friends say, call the whistle on the barn.
Is the barn his? Is it his barn?
No, no, they don't own animals. They go trail riding there. They just go there. So
Yeah.
it's community barn, community fences, community equipment. Like he bought her a saddle and stuff that he has there, but that it's in a community area where people are always touching and moving. And like if somebody's getting a saddle, they put stuff on the other people's pegs, and like it's always moving around. And the barn has flat out said, because I talked to the owner, we're not disinfecting. It's up to whoever comes to do what they're doing. And I said, can you, like, before, and it all came up because I called the barn and I said, hey, I'm having a hard time getting my kid to understand she can't go. If I put you on a group text, are you willing to say, hey, I'm a non-essential business, we can't provide service to you? And she said, well, I can't say that because we are essential, because the horses need exercise. And we're agriculturists, so it's been deemed essential. I said, well, isn't it essential for an animal owner or for your employees to take care of the animals, but not clients? So I'm in that place of like, what do you do in a situation like that? I'm not someone like who likes to cause problems for people's livelihoods or do different things, but where's that line of needing to be the mom or and then I have that thing of, am I overreacting? Everybody else seems to think this is normal. Am I the one who's not normal?
Well, no, you've got fear. It's your child, it's totally expected.
Well, and it's not just like, oh, you're afraid in general. It's that your kid has been, has hospitalizations twice a year. Like that's a real concern. It's not even just, someone like me whose kid doesn't have asthma being afraid of it,
Well,
which
and
we
I'm not
should.
afraid, and I'm not as afraid for my older child. And
Right.
so I full on know that it's focus based, because they say if and I have friends who've had it, but they're like, even healthy people have a hard time with it and go through, but it's the people that do have these issues that it will hit them really hard that you have to be concerned about. And so you hear that and I'm like, okay, so the one kid's healthy, she'd probably be fine, like she might deal with it, like you deal with stuff all the time, you never know what's going to happen. But why increase that risk to someone who's in the risk category? It just
right.
I can't comprehend as a parent why you would do that. And I think that's what's getting me.
Yeah, it adds to your anxiety that you're like angry that you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Yep.
But Heather, some people, it's just so weird how our psyche works. Like some people are in such denial when it comes to crisis situations like this, just because there is so much fear out there and so much the unknown, that he might just be one of those people that's how he deals with stuff like that. He just denies the whole thing. He doesn't take it seriously. He might truly believe that it's not as big of a deal as everybody is making it out to be.
And when he's talked about that, I'm like, this person, this person, this person. They've all had it. They've all been affected. These are people that live within 15 to 20 minutes of you who've been affected, that Why are you not taking it seriously?
Well, what did he say?
Nothing. Flat out nothing.
Wow. Yeah, obviously he's got his own issues, that are you can't uncover until he actually is willing to talk about it. But that's what it sounds like. It's just really, it's hard.
So yeah, I just have to get to that point where I can kind of just adjust to it and get back in my flow, because I don't think there's anything I can do.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of would be trying to get some kind of little emergency order, but that would take your lawyer.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would just create such a messy situation too.
Yeah.
And
Or
the kids are always end up in the middle of it.
Hmm.
and then the only other thing I can think of would be like defects, but I don't know that that's something they would, because even in that situation, they would just come and they would talk to him, and then it would just, he could still do, they wouldn't do anything
They
about
don't
it.
do anything. Exactly.
Right. And so it would just make the whole problem get worse.
Bigger. Yeah, I'm on the positive co-parenting group on Facebook, and usually that's a pretty good place to get a thermometer on things. And right now it's amazing. Like almost every post is about my co-parent is not taking this seriously. What do I, and then nobody has recourse. And the judges are all saying if you try to not have kids going somewhere, like they're siding with continuing to do normal parenting time regardless of parenting actions on the parenting time. And so like looking at all of this, I know that even legally the judge is going to stand with him.
That's so weird. I'm like, I don't know, like my stepdaughter, is in North Carolina, and at kind of the beginning of all this, we were like, hey, we'd love to see her, everyone's out of school and everything. But her mom kind of was like, maybe not, or maybe in a couple weeks. And now we're at where we're at. And we were kind of like, yeah, it's probably better that we don't mix households. Like it just makes sense. Don't spread it one place and then take it to another. Like that just doesn't make sense. So that's hard when you're dealing with people that don't think through all the repercussions, and there's nothing you can do about it. I know where you are. I've had similar situations, but of course not with this virus, but
well, and so it's like my house
hard.
is one way, and so I'm going to have them come here, and it's going to co-mix the houses then. But my thought on it is, if they're there the whole time, I know they're going continually doing things, and there are more chances for exposure. Whereas if they come here and then I'm opening myself up to a chance for exposure, I'm still lessening their chance for exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think they're safer there with you too. I wouldn't recommend you don't take them. I was just,
because I have had people recommend that, and I was like, that
yeah.
like.
No, well, it for us, it's also that we have kids here and they have kids in the other place. And then if our daughter switches, then it's like, it's more than just, her coming to just us, So
yeah, I don't have that. So.
Right. So no, I definitely, and then they're safer with you, it sounds like too, because you actually like don't take them places. So I agree with that. It's only putting you at more risk, but you're the parent, so it's different.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about it. It's my job to take care of them. So if taking care of them means chancing that, then that's what you do, because that's what you do all the time as parents anyway, when you're the front line.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, did anybody else have anything?
I'm good.
Not other than what I said earlier.
All right. Well, should we all get back to work?
To
Yep.
article that I read, and it was just talking about how like this is a traumatic experience. Like, don't downplay it. Like having to stay indoors and some people may not feel that way about it, but it does, like it creates. I'd have to find the article and send it to you guys, and everyone deals with it differently. Like some people shut down, some people get emotional, some people, are in denial. Like it just depends, but it is still something that, a year from now, we're going to look back on this time and it's, we'll have processed it. And we're just in the part where we're not processing yet, but it is still, it will be in our, you know, in our psychology, like a traumatic experience that we've gone through. I just thought that was interesting. So, you know, we can give ourselves a little slack. It is hard.
It is.
It is. I just would like, if you all don't mind, I would really like to pray for all of us going through this. If it's something that's offensive, I apologize. I will do it collectively in my own spirit. But I heard everyone, and what I got was there's just so much anxiety, worry, stress, anger, and the fact that everything is unknown. And so, as I was sitting here listening, I was like, wow, I'm going through the same thing. I'm no different than anyone else. And it's hard to concentrate when you have so many other barriers blocking your concentration. So what I would really like to do is just ask God to give us some divine wisdom and remove the anxieties that we're feeling right now. Take away all the worry, all the financial burdens that have come upon us, open lines of communication with our spouses and significant others. Bind up those things that are causing blocks wherever they are. And I pray that your children are safe, that God keeps a hedge of protection around every single person out there hear the sound of my voice, that every financial need be met, every worry be removed, every anxiety be taken away. Help the children to understand what it is that you would have them understand, Father. Meet their needs according to your riches and glory. I pray that for you all as head of households, because I am too, that one of the things that we're able to do is to hear God's voice and find time for ourselves to be still and to not put so much of a burden on us. We are still in the market of real estate, but we also have to take care of ourselves. And sometimes that means that we just have to be still and be okay and listen to God. Just be still for a moment and develop that relationship that will help us get through this, because this too shall pass. And God says that he will take every burden from us if we give it to him and not try to control it. So sometimes we just need to surrender to him. And I thank you. I pray that for everyone that hears that, Father, that today be a wonderful day for them, that they have peace in their heart, that you smile upon them, smile upon their business, the goals that they've set for themselves. Help them to meet their needs according to your riches and glory. In Jesus' name I pray, amen and amen. I hope that helps somebody today. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, you guys, take care.
Thank you.
Let's just be still for a moment. It's okay. We're going to get through this.
Yep.
Amen. See you guys.
Bye.
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 Off for 20 calls, 20 conversations. Take 40 calls. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well,
Bye.